Hello and welcome to our webinar, New Year Balanced Life. I'm Donna Seaman, Adult Books Editor at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom an hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links. You can also download them by typing the URL on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience, that's you, is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or if you need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we will pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all our webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the live transcript icon on the toolbar. From there, you can select Show or Hide Subtitles from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the caption at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates the standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. All right, so today we have a wonderful set of presenters. We have John Tintera, Senior Sales and Client Manager at Hay House. Caitlin Ross, Senior Publicity and Marketing Manager at Shambhala Publications. Liz McKellar, Director of Sales, Marketing, and New Media at Parallax Press. The North Atlantic Books team is here, led by Julia Sadowski, Associate Publicity Director, Emily Shapiro, publicist, and publicist Michelle Fan. We'll also hear from Christy Kirk, Senior Marketing Manager, and Sarah Nelson, Senior Marketing Manager and Copywriter at Berrett-Koehler Publishers. And to kick things off from Penguin Random House, we have Associate Director of Library Marketing, Kelly Coyle-Crivelli. Welcome, Kelly.
Hi, Donna. Hi, everybody. How are you today? I'm so excited that we're here today. We were saying this is our third year of doing this program. It's always so fun. It's a great way to start off the year with the right books to try or attempt to get your year balanced. We decided New Year, New You was too much work, so we went with New Year Balanced Life because, nobody really wants a whole new person to have to deal with at this stage of the game. But we have a great title list for you. We have great presenters. These are some of our wonderful distribution partners that we get to work with all the time, and we love when you're able to hear from them directly. So thank you so much for joining us today. There's the title list, there's the Edelweiss collection, there's all of their contact information within the presentation, but if you ever need to reach out directly to us at library@penguinrandomhouse.com, let us know, and we can also follow up and answer any questions for you. So I can go to the next slide. We just have a few tiny reminders from our team before we get to their presentation. Our next morning book buzz, I don't know how many of you join us for our morning book buzzes. We do them almost every month or every other month, where we bring you the coffee, or you bring the coffee and we bring the books. We talk about some of our highlighted titles coming up that we want you to know about. And our next one will be March 6th, and we hope you can join us. And if you go on our YouTube channel, you'll see all the archives if you haven't seen it before. It's a great way to see what you need to get on your shelves in your libraries and in different categories. Next slide. We have a very fun, this is perfect for this audience. We have a perfect fun sweeps brought to you from the people at Hearst Books. And it's a new year of good housekeeping. And it's cookbooks and some good housekeeping products like pans and stuff like that to get you started off in the new year with healthy cooking and a nice balanced diet and healthy eating and all sorts of things. And there's even a couple of cookbooks for kids in there. So if you go to that tiny URL, you'll be able to enter our sweeps. Next slide. And just for some of the other titles that might not be covered in this presentation, we have a further reading slide for you with some really great books coming up that will help you with this whole premise of a new year and a balanced life. It's a collection on Edelweiss. You could go to that tiny URL right there. I know you'll get all this information after. Some really wonderful books coming out about optimism and how to start your day off better, and being a super communicator with Charles Duhigg, which is he's always great. So we hope that you will check out some of the titles in this slide. And now on to our presenters, I believe, right? Well, have a wonderful 2024. I'm sure we'll see all of you on our various virtual programs and in person. Please find us if you're going to be at LLX next week. We will be there. And have a wonderful presentation. Thank you all of the presenters that are joining us today. It's wonderful to see all of you, and thank you all for joining us that are online. All right, John, hope you're doing well, and it's up to you. Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much for that wonderful kickoff to this great program. I'm going to introduce John and then hand it over to him. We're so happy to have John Tentera here today. John has served as the Senior Sales and Client Manager for Hay House since 2018. Prior to that, he had a similar role with Watkins Media. 2024 marks John's 30th year in book publishing. Well, congratulations. Guess you started as a boy. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much, Donna. Louise Hay founded Hay House in 1984 when she was nearly 60 years old. She started the company as a way to publish her book called You Can Heal Your Life, and it continues to be one of our top sellers year after year. Next slide, please. Alkaline Life by Ross Bridgeford is my first book today. Ross Bridgeford is a health coach based in Brisbane, Australia, and a leading expert on the alkaline diet and lifestyle. What is the alkaline diet? It's a way of eating and living that balances your body's pH, reduces inflammation, and boosts your energy and health. It's based on research that indicates a lot of chronic diseases are caused by acidity and inflammation in the body, and that by eating more alkaline foods and avoiding acidic ones, you can prevent and reverse these conditions. An alkaline diet consists of avoiding sugary sweets, gluten, animal protein, and caffeine. But the book is not just about food, it's also about lifestyle. Ross Bridgeford teaches you how to live alkaline and stay alkaline for life. He shows you how to incorporate alkaline habits into your daily routine, such as drinking alkaline water, exercising, meditating, and sleeping well. He also gives you tips and tricks to overcome the challenges and temptations that may arise along the way. Next slide. Intuition by Mia Magic. Mia Magic is the founder of Witch School and an influencer with 120,000 followers on Instagram. Intuition is a guide to strengthening your innate capacity to speak the symbolic language of the universe and trust your inner knowing, your intuition. It combines two strong and steady trends with millennials and Gen Zers: earth-based spirituality and manifestation. Mia Magic teaches you how to access your intuition through a simple 11-minute practice that involves meditation and journaling. She shows you how to listen to the guidance of your higher self and how to distinguish it from the fear and limiting beliefs that hold you back. She also shares her personal story of how she discovered her intuition and how it transformed her life. Next slide, please. Here we have Spirituality is for Everybody by Allison B. Tompkins. Allison B. Tompkins is a disability rights advocate and a person with cerebral palsy. In this book, Allison addresses essential spiritual themes such as surrender, prayer, synchronicities, meditation, grace, gratitude, and authentic service in a way that centers disabled readers and speaks to their particular life challenges. The book features exercises at the end of each chapter that have extensive access notes to allow readers who are blind, deaf-blind, or mobility restricted to build a personalized practice that works for them in the body in which they live. Allison shows us that spirituality is not only for the able-bodied, but it's for everybody, and that we can all access the divine within us and around us, no matter what our circumstances are. And if you have a chance, I would ask you to put Allison's name into YouTube. There's a really wonderful video. And just to hear her voice and get a sense of her is really amazing. Next slide, please. This is Worthy by Jamie Kern-Lima. Jamie Kern-Lima is a former Denny's waitress who became a billion-dollar entrepreneur by learning to believe in herself. She is also the founder of It Cosmetics, one of the most successful beauty brands in the world. In this, her second book, Jamie shares her personal story of overcoming self-doubt, imposter syndrome, fear of failure, and pleasing others, and how she built unshakable self-worth and embraced who she truly is. Worthy is not just a memoir. It's a playbook for how you can believe in you. It's full of practical tools, exercises, and insights that will help you get unstuck from the things holding you back, unlearn the lies that lead to self-doubt, and wake up your inner worthiness. We already have 12,000 pre-orders from Amazon for Worthy, so it's positioned to be a top bestseller out of the gate. Next slide, please. This is Protect Your Peace by Trent Shelton. Trent shows you how to thrive in a chaotic world. Trent Shelton is a former NFL player who became a motivational speaker and coach after overcoming his own struggles with depression, addiction, and betrayal. He knows what it's like to feel hopeless, lost, and broken. But he also knows how to turn pain into power and perspective into the release from what imprisons you. In this book, Trent shares 9 unapologetic principles that will help you protect your energy, your mind, and your soul from the things that drain you, distract you, and don't fulfill you. He teaches you how to set clear boundaries, disconnect from negativity, hone your vision and your focus, and bring your life into alignment with your true purpose. We already have 5,000 pre-orders from Amazon for this, so it too is positioned to be a bestseller out of the gate. Next slide, please. This is Post-Diabetic by Eric Admitas and Dr. Ruben Ruiz with a foreword by Mark Hyman. This book introduces a new term, post-diabetic, which means someone who has reversed their type 2 diabetes or their pre-diabetes and is on the path to lasting health. The book explains why diabetes is so common in our modern society and how our ancient biology is not adapted to our processed food environment. It also exposes the powerful interests that keep us sick and dependent on drugs. The book provides readers with a 9-week program that combines seasonal paleo eating, rewilding, and habit-changing techniques. The book is based on the successful online courses of the authors called WildFit, which have helped thousands of people reverse their diabetes and regain their vitality. The book includes delicious recipes for green smoothies and veggie meals that will nourish your body and soul. Next slide, please. This is What Do You Need by Lauren Wesley Wilson. Lauren is the founder and CEO of ColorCom, which is the leading women's association addressing diversity and inclusion in the communications, marketing, advertising, and media industries. In What Do You Need, Lauren teaches women of color the unspoken rules of how to advance in their careers, because it isn't just enough to work hard. There are soft skills to master as well. Lauren learned this the hard way. She had been taught originally that the way to succeed in business was to put her head down and do good work. And at her first job after grad school, she thought she was doing everything right. She got to the office on time, if not early, and stayed until late. She said yes to every project and always met her deadlines. But in her annual review, she was told that the feedback from her colleagues was, "We don't really know Lauren." And she was floored. She was friendly, spoke to her colleagues, made coffee when it was her turn. And in addition to being a hard worker, but that wasn't quite enough. She came to realize that she wasn't clued in enough to the soft skills that needed to get ahead. So What Do You Need is the owner's manual Lauren wishes she had when she was breaking into the workplace. Next slide, please. Sovereign, The Science of Life on Your Own Terms by Emma Sapala, PhD. Emma is a Yale lecturer, Stanford researcher, and expert on happiness and well-being. Sovereign is not your typical self-help book. It's a manifesto that challenges us to break free from the self-destructive patterns and beliefs that keep us stuck, unhappy, and unfulfilled. Sovereign draws on the latest scientific research, as well as the author's own personal and professional experience, to guide us through the areas of our lives where we have given up our power and freedom. Emma shows us how to unbind ourselves in our work, our relationships, our health, our mind, our spirit, and our connection to ourselves. She teaches us practical and proven strategies to overcome the challenges of our modern world, such as distraction, uncertainty, and chaos. She inspires us to embrace our true potential and live with joy, purpose, and meaning. Emma's first book, The Happiness Track, was featured in Time, CNBC, Forbes, and ABC News. And finally, next slide. The Awakened Way by Suzanne Giesemann. This book is not just another self-help book. It's a higher self book that teaches us how to live a consciously connected and divinely guided life. It shows us how to approach life from the soul's perspective, where the highest answers lie. In 2001, Suzanne was a commander in the US Navy and an aide to the head of the US military on 9/11. At that point in her life, she was unaware of anything beyond this earthly realm. The death of her pregnant stepdaughter by a lightning strike catapulted Suzanne onto a journey which led her to the unexpected gift of evidence-based communication with non-physical consciousness, or in other words, she became a psychic. Since then, she has offered 14 books, 6 best-selling Hemi-Sync recordings, and YouTube videos reaching over 8 million viewers. She produces the Awakened Way app with daily inspirational messages and hosts the top-ranking Messages of Hope podcast. She leads numerous classes, workshops, and retreats in person and online. The Awakened Way provides practical tools and exercises to help us experience the greater reality for ourselves and to engage with metaphysical beings who can assist us on our journey. It invites us to live a love-centered life where we can make the highest choices by following our inner light through the heart. That's it for me. So happy to be here, and I hand it over to you, Donna.
Thank you so much, John. So much to think about. Our next presenter is Caitlin Ross. Caitlin is a senior publicity and marketing manager at Shambhala Publications. She's been with the company for almost 8 years. Welcome, Caitlin.
Thanks so much, Donna. Hello, awesome Booklist people. So I'll be presenting books for Shambhala Publications, who is a leader in nonfiction spirituality, mindfulness, and wellness books since 1969. All right, so we can go to the first slide. This first book, Presence, The Art of Being at Home in Yourself by Tracy Cochran, is an accessible guide to mindfulness and living fully in the present moment. In this book, Buddhist meditation teacher Tracy Cochran encourages us to see presence as a living force. Cochran's personal experiences are central to this book and often help to convey her teachings by showing rather than telling us how to be more mindful. This book includes 19 short chapters divided into 4 parts: body, heart, mind, and the whole truth. Throughout the book, Cochran blends her own personal stories with teachings and guided meditations that will deepen the mindfulness practice of readers of all levels. She shares stories like the time her van broke down on a cross-country trip, the time she was worried that her young daughter had offended Thich Nhat Hanh, and the time she went ghost hunting in an 18th century inn. Next slide. So Tracy Cochran is a longtime meditation teacher and the editorial director of Parallax magazine. She teaches at the Rubin Museum and the New York Insight Meditation Center, and her writing has appeared in the New York Times, Psychology Today, and more. Okay, next slide. All right, next up, Everyday Ayurveda for Women's Health by Kate O'Donnell. This book delivers insights into personal health, hormonal balance, and connection to nature, all from the simplest practice of what we eat. Readers will learn the ancient wisdom of Ayurvedic living through over 60 recipes and practices, including 50 photos. So food and herbs are medicine for the body, mind, and soul. Kate O'Donnell empowers women of any age to become intimate with their body, how it works, how it changes over time, and how to listen to its messages. Next slide. So this practical guide will inspire you to experience radiant health from the inside out, and it includes information on how to balance hormones from a holistic perspective, celestial bodies and the influence of the sun, moon, and planets, optimizing digestion and metabolism, managing PMS and menstrual imbalances, perimenopause and menopause, medicinal meals, health tonics, digestives, and culinary spices, just to name a few. Next slide. So the author Kate O'Donnell has spent more than 25 years traveling through India in search of ancient and time-tested healing practices to bring back to the United States. Her individualized approach has transformed the lives of thousands of people and has made her a respected thought leader in holistic medicine. Kate's best-selling books continue to be the top resources in the field of Ayurveda. Okay, next slide. Eliminating Our True Nature. So this one by Michelle Cassandra Johnson. Readers will learn how to dissolve hurtful, difficult patterns and emotional hardship through the 5 yogic points of suffering, known as the kleshas. With powerful and practical meditations, mantras, asanas, yoga poses, reflection questions, and more in order to reduce our suffering and the suffering of others. So the 5 kleshas, so the 5 yogic points of suffering are ignorance, over-identification with ego, attachment to desire or pleasure, aversion or avoidance, and the fear of death or letting go. Each one leads us to create tendencies and karma that move us away from realizing and remembering our true nature and seeing ourselves as separate from one another and the planet. So in yogic terms, this perpetuates a constant cycle of pain for us all. Next slide, please. So in the book, Johnson offers us a way to find a sense of clarity, groundedness, and equanimity within ourselves by working through the kleshas one by one, using asana, so yoga poses, pranayama, breath work, mudra, which are hand symbols, gestures, mantra, which are repeated phrases, also includes reflection questions and meditations. You can see there are photos in the book, and the photos will actually be black and white, but we do have them available in color. Next slide, please. Michelle Cassandra Johnson is an activist, a social justice warrior, anti-racism consultant and trainer, intuitive healer, and yoga teacher. She is the author of the best-selling yoga philosophy books, We Heal Together, Finding Refuge, and Skill in Action. Okay, next slide. All right, so in the same vein as Thich Nhat Hanh's very popular book, No Mud, No Lotus, this book offers concrete advice how to reorient your thinking when faced with the challenges, mess, and chaos that inevitably occur in life. We learn to embrace suffering in order to achieve ultimate happiness or equanimity. So this book is divided into 2 parts. The first part of this book introduces the view, guiding readers in recognizing and understanding how to work with suffering and happiness in their different forms. The second part of the book is dedicated to the practice. The author Jigme Wangdruk offers mind training exercises and methods to practice contentment, develop patience, and learn to love your life as it already is. Okay, next slide. So this is the first book in English by Chakung Jigme Wangdruk, who is now based in California, where he is the spiritual director of the Abaya Fellowship. He is the unique holder of the Dudjom Lingpa lineage, This person was one of the foremost spiritual masters of 19th century Tibet. And this incredible confluences of spiritual lineages makes the author an important contemporary teacher in the Tibetan Buddhist world with a special authentic voice. Okay, next. Okay. Real World Enlightenment by Susan Kaiser Greenland is a warm guide for anyone interested in finding greater freedom and connection in their lives. In this book, Greenland draws from science, psychology, Buddhism, wisdom traditions, and personal stories to provide a view of real-world enlightenment, or moments we can shift from a narrow, survival-driven mindset to one that is both grounded and expansive. When we understand this broad worldview from the inside out, we become more resilient and can begin to build a kinder and more resilient world. To help get us there, the author offers 50 short, accessible practices that can be done anytime and anywhere to help refocus, reframe, and develop inner calm and well-being, regardless of our circumstances. Okay, next slide. So the tools in this book include practical ways to recognize the basic goodness within and around you by tapping into sensory pleasures like music or nature, robust tools to manage stress and develop attention by focusing on sight, sound, image, word, or phrase, accessible meditation methods to experience life with greater equanimity by slowing down your thinking process to heighten awareness of the natural movement of your mind, time-tested life hacks to care for yourself and others with greater kindness and compassion, insightful strategies that bring greater ease and effortless into your life and relationships, and much, much more. Susan Kaiser Greenland is a beloved mindfulness teacher, best-selling author, and longtime Buddhist practitioner. Okay, and finally, the last slides. Okay, in the TMJ handbook, Kader Shockjoy explains the anatomy and physiology of temporomandibular joint dysfunction, or what we commonly refer to as TMJ. She unpacks the physical, emotional, and energetic reasons why this pain can occur and become so debilitating, including injury, stress and tension, emotional trauma, grief and rage, hormonal imbalances, among other causes. She then offers a unique and effective approach to reducing TMJ pain that combines yoga, massage, meditation, and craniosacral therapy. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So Shockjoy shares inspiring and instructive stories of patients she has treated and empowers us with the knowledge and skills to help ourselves. This fully illustrated guide has more than 30 instructional movements and 11 audio downloads to accompany. Okay, next slide. And yeah, so Kader Shockjoy is a yoga therapist, mindfulness teacher, and craniosacral practitioner. And this is her debut book. Okay, that is it for Shambhala Publications. We will continue to send books for potential review, and you can find galleys on Edelweiss if needed, or please feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any requests. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. That was wonderful. Next up, we'll be joined by Liz McKellar. Liz is a Bay Area native with brief stints in Kentucky, Montana, India, and Costa Rica. A lover of travel, animals, and books, Liz has worked in publishing for the better part of a decade and joined the Parallax team in 2020. A dedicated home baker with dreams of being on the Great British Baking Show. When she isn't reading or daydreaming of reading, she enjoys practicing mindfulness and spending time with her cats, puppy, and family. Welcome, Liz. We're so glad you're here.
Hi, thank you so much. I put a decade because I don't like to age myself if at all possible. I'd be happy to share my screen. Sorry. If the host will be able to allow it, sorry about that. It's still loading. There you go. So you guys can see my beautiful face. There you go. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I just want to thank you guys so much for allowing me the opportunity to share some of our titles for a more balanced life. Thank you so much for the introduction. I am Liz McKellar, the Director of Sales, Marketing, and New Media with Parallax Press. Parallax Press, if you are not familiar with us, it's a nonprofit publisher founded by the late Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. We publish books and media on the art of mindful living and engaged Buddhism. Directly to the point, we focus on mindfulness and engagement, body, mind, and spirit, with an emphasis on social emotional learning and our children's imprint. And our work also focuses on dismantling systems of oppression and injustice that impede all from enjoying a more kind, healthy, and just compassionate society. I'll be presenting some of our titles that we just think best support leading a more balanced life. So next. I'll start with our Mindfulness Essential series. The Mindfulness Essential series has passed over 1 million combined print sales since it debuted in 2014. These guides provide simple and refreshing meditations around different themes, for example, around handling conflict, cultivating concentration, and with our latest title, which is coming out in 2024, banner year, if I can say, it will be How to Listen, which 2024 is perfect time for that to come out, helping people learn how to mindfully and empathetically listen to the world and people around us. In 2023, we also saw the release of our how-to book, our How to Smile book, and our Mindfulness Essentials cards. All wonderful new contributions to this impactful series. Next. Moving to our next title, Peace is This Moment. This is a 365-page-a-day book formatted to inspire readers and offer guidance with Thich Nhat Hanh's most insightful teachings. We carefully selected passages from Thich Nhat Hanh's vast published works, so it's filled with nourishing words on a diverse range of topics, from loss and reconciliation, decompartmentalizing our lives, and learning to meet the present moment with peace. Open once a day or read all at once. This recent release can be enjoyed really all year long. Next. Now, I can't talk about Thich Nhat Hanh and not include one of his best-selling titles, No Mud, No Lotus, which will be celebrating its 10th anniversary in 2024 and has continued to be a bestseller since its release. It's been a helpful and moving book to those looking to learn the secret to happiness and how to handle suffering. Continuously appearing on bestsellers list, we picked this classic because its timeless message and practice helps us recognize the wonders inside us and around us that we tend to take for granted, and just really teaches us the art of happiness. But don't take my word for it. One of my favorite reviews from Goodreads gave it 2 stars, saying, simply written, very clear, covers the basics, glad I read it. So there you go, a book that is well loved and should be a staple on any shelf. Next. New year means new changes, and change is stressful. Even when it's much desired or anticipated, the unknown can be scary and threatening. And we were made for these times by experienced mindfulness teacher Kyra Julingo. She imparts accessible advice on navigating difficult times of transition to help you establish equanimity and resilience. In 10 concise chapters, you'll learn powerful ways to meet life's challenges with wisdom, flexibility, and ease. The time-honored teachings will help you develop presence and compassion, supporting you to release the fear, doubt, and resistance that really holds you back. This unfolds in a step-by-step process to nurture deeper freedom and stability in daily life. And Kyra Jewel was kind enough to come back with this new release, Healing Our Way Home, yes. And she joined forces with the wonderful Valerie Brown and Dr. Maricela Gomez. And these 3 friends write as if the readers just are directly a part of their intimate conversations. They touch on the pain and beauty of their families of origin, relationships and loneliness, intimacy and sexuality, politics, pop culture, race, self-care, and healing. Just no subject is out of bounds in this free-flowing, wide-ranging offering of mindful wisdom that really is meant to nourish our sense of belonging and connection with our ancestors. For readers looking for a book that reflects their lived experiences and deeper insight on how to better connect to our roots, this is a much-needed title. I'll move on to the next one. Well, I'm going to wrap this up with our last selection, which is looking on improving, your life and those and the life of those around you. We have Kazuhaga's Healing Resistance, which arrived on the scene, in 2020, and we have Fierce Vulnerability, which is coming in 2024. So Kazuhaga is the founder of East Point Peace Academy and a restorative justice trainer. Healing Resistance takes on the mindful approach to nonviolent action. It takes on the timely issue of endless protests and activist burnout and presents tried and tested strategies for staying resilient, creating equity, and restoring peace. In Fierce Vulnerability, he seeks to break apart the toxicity that's really soaked our political and social discord by calling on people to have the courage to be fiercely vulnerable. That the current call out, cancel, and blame game going on in these spaces are just not making the changes that are needed, which means we need to really take a different approach. And advocates making change with a different spirit that puts front and center healing and most importantly, dignity of all people. Well, that's just me talking too much, so I'm going to wrap it up and just say thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you for enjoying this selection, and thank you guys so much for having me, and I hope you guys pick up and enjoy our titles.
Thank you, Liz. That was wonderful. So much to think about for all these books. Well, now we have the North Atlantic Books team. Yay. Julia Sadowski is the Associate Publicity Director at North Atlantic Books, which is an independent, nonprofit, and healing-focused press. Before joining North Atlantic Books in 2017 as Associate Publicist, Julia was the events coordinator at Books Inc. in Berkeley, California, where she had the privilege of hosting events that celebrated authors from the Bay Area and across the country. Before joining the book industry, Julia worked for 2 educational nonprofits as an AmeriCorps member in San Francisco and Baton Rouge. Emily Shapiro is a publicist at North Atlantic Books. They've also worked at Pop-Up Magazine and Zoetrope, All Story. And Michelle Fan is a publicist at North Atlantic Books. She also serves as board member and committee member of the Bay Area Women in Publishing. Welcome, Julia, Emily, and Michelle. Take it away.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you today. Before Michelle, Emily, and I dive in, I want to invite you to reach out if any of the titles that we talk about today or that are included in our title list resonate. We're always happy to mail in ARC or share an advance copy on Edelweiss or NetGalley. Our catalogs are available on both platforms, so please connect with us there or over email. I also want to note that as a healing-focused press, some of the books we'll be talking about today mention topics like trauma, harm, and violence. So please take care while listening. And with that, I'll turn things over to Emily.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. With Whole Medicine, author Rebecca Martinez offers an ethics-centered guide for psychedelic healing. Entheogenic medicine has proven to be immensely healing. Sadly, there's also a culture of harm, appropriation, and abuse of power in the field. Whole Medicine responds to this harm and will be required reading for those interested in becoming psychedelic guides. As a psychedelic advisor, a multiple-time sexual assault survivor, and a former staff member of an evangelical megachurch, Martinez understands harm, both physical and spiritual, and she's a respected voice in the world of psychedelic medicine. People are paying attention to what's happening in Oregon since psilocybin was made legal there in 2023, and the author is part of a subcommittee advising the rollout of this new law. There's so much curiosity surrounding this topic, and we're anticipating substantial interest.
Next slide, please. Defined by Vanessa Rochelle Lewis, uglification is a dangerous form of disenfranchisement. To practice uglification is to weaponize a person's marginalized identities, like their appearance, their race, gender, or sexuality, to make them feel bad. Speaking from her perspective as a Black, queer, fat, and neurodivergent activist and healer, Lewis invites readers to see and reject the ways that we internalize and perpetuate uglification, embrace accountability, and opt for something better. The book is filled with beautiful prose, self-care suggestions, embodiment exercises, reflection prompts, and systemic analysis. Lewis also doesn't shy away from topics like domestic violence, systemic racism, ableism, and the ways people are materially uglified. In one powerful story from the book, she shares her experience of having her appearance weaponized against her when a party promoter who, mocking Lewis's appearance, posted a photo of her on Facebook as an example of the kind of woman who isn't invited or welcome to the VIP events he hosts. In the book, she writes, "I would not and could not allow my photo to be used as a weapon to terrorize the people I had devoted my life to loving. My body would not be used to attack the ideals of self-worth, self-acceptance, and compassionate self-love that I so fiercely believed in." Incorporating frameworks including disability justice, pleasure activism, transformative inclusion, and other identity-based political and community movements, Lewis is grounded in the daily reality of living in a body that is too frequently disregarded. Simultaneously, she prioritizes joy, healing, pleasure, and accountability. Next slide, please.
Author and psychotherapist Roger Kuhn believes that in order to fully understand our lived experience, we must examine how culture impacts our bodies, hence the term somacultural. As a two-spirit indigiqueer person, Kuhn is familiar with the shame that the dominant culture places on non-normative bodies in the colonization of his sexuality and ethnic identity by cultural notions of what is normal and virtuous. Through vulnerable stories of his personal experiences, growth work activities, cultural assessments, mindfulness practices, and body regulation exercises, Kuhn helps readers decolonize their bodies and reconnect with their authentic selves. Next slide, please.
The Land in Our Bones, Plancestral Herbalism and Healing Cultures from Syria to the Sinai is both an herbal handbook and a record of the region. Author Leila Keifagali acts as both generational and cultural bridge by documenting remedies and traditions in danger of fading as ancestors pass away and colonialism in the area pushes for erasure. The Land in Our Bones complicates a region that often has its pluralism homogenized. Diasporic readers will find a home in Figali's pages, and plant medicines shared will be particularly meaningful to readers with roots in Lebanon and other parts of Canaan. Figali reminds us that even when our blood relations and the land we come from are far away, plants are our ancestors, and they are always with us. Plants are in the air we breathe, the food we make, and the fibers of our clothing. It is through plants that we can find home in displacement, remedy in pain, and reciprocity in a culture of extraction. Next slide, please.
With nearly 50,000 copies sold of her most recent book, Teaching Yoga Beyond the Poses, Sage Roundtree is a highly accomplished author, studio owner, and teacher trainer, and her real-world experience informs every page of this new book. The art of yoga sequencing celebrates students of all kinds, styles, and levels. Grounded in exercise physiology while honoring yoga traditions, Roundtree's new offering includes adaptable examples and lesson plans, tips for increasing student accessibility, and more. Next slide, please.
Growing up as a young Black bisexual, J.R. Yusuf struggled with the lack of bisexual representation. His book, Dear Bi Men, challenges this lack and traces biphobia back to the cultural conditioning of white supremacy. Bisexuality, Yusuf reminds us, is all about asking what else might exist outside boundaries. In 2018, he started the hashtag Bisexual Men Speak on Twitter, and it went viral, inspiring him to write this book. People around the globe adopting the hashtag showed how much desire there was for community and validation, with chapters focusing on labels, history, racism, homophobia, and the politics of bisexuality. This book does more than just define a multifaceted identity. It opens it up into something expansive. The author makes room for real life, showing how a person's sexual history doesn't have to define their sexual orientation, and vice versa. Over and over again, Yusuf carves out more freedom for readers to define themselves. Next slide, please.
Revised and updated, Teaching Yoga by yoga expert Mark Stevens is one of the most popular resources for new and experienced teachers and has been a trusted guide since its publication in 2010. The second edition is adapted to meet the needs of the modern yoga teacher and developed to meet 100% of the teacher training curriculum standards set by Yoga Alliance, the world's leading registry and accreditation source for yoga teachers and schools. Next slide, please. We have a lot to grieve. For BIPOC communities in particular, it's the 500 years of colonization, displacement, and assimilation that our families and ancestors have endured. It's the ongoing issue of systemic harm and inequality that has taken its toll on our mental and physical health. And so we see Tending Grief serving an underserved topic, addressing grief in relation to racism and oppression. It creates a space for readers to slow down and be with their grief in an embodied way. It offers a wide variety of rituals and practices, from those you can do alone to those you can do in community. It uniquely frames grief as something we can compost to make it a generative part of our lives. It argues that grief work is necessary for social change. It's rooted in queer Black feminist theory, and it's a crucial resource for BIPOC and queer readers for whom so many other grief books have missed the mark. Next slide, please.
The casual yoga class attendee might be surprised to learn about the history of physical and sexual assault embedded within mainstream modern yoga. Still, the survivors of the abuse committed within these communities under the guise of yoga adjustments continue to do the work to untangle the harm perpetuated by gurus like Bikram, Iyengar, and specific to this book, Pattabhi Jois. Grounded in survivor narratives, investigative journalism, and cultic scholarship, author, yoga teacher, and Conspirituality podcast co-host Matthew Remski, himself a survivor of multiple high-demand groups or cults, prioritizes survivor voices in this harrowing analysis and case study of cultic abuse within the Ashtanga community, led by Pattabhi Jois. With chapters like Male Violence in Modern Yoga and Personal Pain, Structural Harm, Remski prioritizes the long-obscured voices of women who were abused by Jois himself, by his followers, and by the broader Ashtanga community that systematically denied rampant abuse. The goal is to move toward a safer Ashtanga community for the future. Remski's profile is large and growing. The Conspirituality podcast has featured guests including Jordan Klepper, Sean Korn, Aubrey Gordon, and others. Remski also brings a unique positionality to the book. He's practiced yoga and meditation for over 25 years. Next slide, please.
Yoga for pelvic floor and postpartum health meets an urgent market need among an audience of readers hungry for practical guidance and can be used alongside any other kind of mainstream or complementary postpartum treatment or therapy. The authors are warm and knowledgeable, and the practices apply whether you gave birth a week ago or a decade ago, since postpartum issues don't usually just go away on their own. The included yoga sequences are designed to be clear, accessible, and effective. Each builds on the next, but the 7-week program is flexible. It accommodates if you need to stay in one asana before you progress to the next, and you can repeat asanas anytime. Next slide, please.
Reimagining the Revolution offers a strategic map to abolishing the prison industrial complex in America. Layman Ewing, a grassroots organizer, criminal justice reporter, and former communications manager for San Francisco's former progressive district attorney, Chesa Boudin, shares these strategies through intimate profiles of the innovative activists and organizations working to generate material progress. Following a brief synopsis of oppression and incarceration in America, the book is structured in 4 parts, inviting readers to reimagine what revolution can look like through four frameworks: community, justice, capitalism, and infrastructure. Profiles include the Angela Davis-founded organization Critical Resistance, where Layman Ewing details the org's radical approach to justice. In the chapter Reimagining Communities, she explores the work of Ivan Kilgore, founder of United Black Family Scholarship Foundation, and an incarcerated man working to engage young revolutionaries through scholarships, grant programs, and other projects. Next slide, please.
For activists and all those fighting for social justice, work is not a typical 9-to-5 where you can disengage once you clock out. It's not so easy to separate work life from personal life when the issues you're working with directly affect the communities you're a part of. It's no wonder that editors Tessa Hicks-Peterson and Hala Corey saw a need for practicing liberation. After launching a research project that identified what people need to center wellness within justice work, they invited some of the changemakers they worked with to expand on this conversation. Together, these scholar activists and practitioners show us how we can feel the joy, connection, and sustainability that's needed, but often missing in this difficult work for change. Next slide, please.
What if pleasure held the same importance as fitness at the gym? Movement for Everybody champions an inclusive movement practice for anyone who doesn't fit and doesn't wish to fit the typical fitness mold, who refuses burdensome narratives that tell them they're broken and need to be fixed, cured, or mended to be whole. With journaling and reflective prompts, as well as highly adaptable exercise demonstrations reflecting a broad range of body types and physical abilities, Movement for Everybody provides the instruction and validation needed to redefine our approaches, goals, and pleasures around exercise and ability. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll turn it back to Donna.
Thank you so much, North Atlantic Books team. What a tremendous job. What a great range of subjects. All right, everyone. Our final presenters will be from Berrett-Koehler Publishers. We have Christy Kirk, Senior Marketing Manager and Writer at Berrett-Koehler Publishers and an adjunct professor at the University of North Carolina Hussman School of Media and Journalism. Christy is a voracious reader and has always had a deep love of books. Her mother is a retired librarian. Christy lives in Durham, North Carolina with her husband, children, and 3 cats. Sarah Nelson is a marketer, bibliophile, and proponent of the Oxford Comma. Yes. With experience in the digital marketing space and years of studying literature, she is embarking on her publishing journey as marketing manager and copywriter at Berrett-Koehler. When she is not busy saving the world from marketing faux pas, you can find her reading or slaying pixel demons in far-off lands. Thanks for joining us, Christy and Sarah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My colleague Christy and I are from Berrett-Koehler Publishers, a nonfiction, mission-driven independent publishing house. We are a B Corp, a California benefit corporation, and our goal is to connect people and ideas to help create a world that works for all. On the screen, you'll see a QR code for our new releases newsletter. If you're interested, we encourage you to sign up. Now let's dive into these books. Using emotional science and psychology, Holding On to Air challenges the common notion that we can simply think our way out of grief or choose to be happy after a traumatic experience. It introduces a cognitive behavioral approach to bring the body and spirit into the solution alongside the mind to present a whole person path to building resilience. This book also addresses one of the most essential trauma healing components, which is repairing a fractured sense of time. When people have a traumatic experience, they often lose a coherent sense of time and the ability to see themselves truthfully in the past, present, and future. Holding On to Air was written specifically to overcome the main criticism of self-help books, which is that they don't work. It weaves together science, narrative, and practical advice with intention, allowing readers to actually benefit from the framework rather than just reading tired tropes and sob stories. Most importantly, the book is written for anyone who has experienced any traumatic event. It doesn't matter if it's health-related, grief and loss, sexual abuse, or military trauma. It's written for everyone. Mental health professionals and academics that are interested in trauma and psychology will find this book very useful because it aims to be a new approach to building resilience. Holding On to Air was released this week on January 9th. Next slide, please. This book is a practical manual illuminating the unwritten rules of what is racist and how white people can learn and change. It's written in a very straightforward conversational tone and is meant to be a guidebook where you can pick it up at any chapter and read based on questions you have. A unique aspect of the book is that people think that Fatima is white because she's a light-skinned Black person, so people treat her differently. This is her secret weapon, which gives her the insight into how to educate white readers to change behaviors. The book is organized into a 3-part framework around the history of the behavior, why it's happening, and how to change and do better. Each chapter has a race rule that tackles a specific topic many people of color wish white people understood. Each chapter will have a cartoon illustration to infuse humor into understanding. Kirkus called it well-informed and hard-hitting, and Publishers Weekly said it's an excellent resource for those looking to move beyond performative allyship. Race Rules is available on January 30th. Next slide, please.
We are all faced with tough topics and difficult conversations every day, and often these conversations can take a negative turn into recriminations and misunderstandings. We have an upcoming title that offers us all the tools to bring civil discourse back. It's called I Respectfully Disagree, and it's by Justin Jones-Fosu, a former contributor to NPR's The Takeaway and the CEO of a workplace training firm. I Respectfully Disagree offers a 5-part framework to help us disagree with others without dehumanizing them. This practical and accessible guide empowers us to have challenging conversations in any situation, from the workplace to the classroom to the dinner table. It's not about saying the right words at the right time, but something deeper. You'll discover the 5 pillars of respectfully disagreeing. Challenge your perspective, be the student, cultivate your curiosity, seek the gray, and agree to respect. Justin Jones-Fosu tackles this serious subject with a playful and compassionate tone. With a wide range of examples and exercises throughout, this is a timely and reader-friendly handbook to disagreeing with someone's ideology while passionately pursuing their humanity, a guide we can all use in this election year. I Respectfully Disagree launches on April 16th. Next slide, please.
The Black Woman's Guide to Getting Free is for Black women who want to learn how to live as their most authentic selves, unshackled from the expectations and stereotypes that society imposes on them. Tamara explores the meaning of liberation for Black women and prepares them for the intense journey they're about to embark on. In the second half of the book, she introduces readers to the 6 pillars of living free as a Black woman: spot the distortions, know your truth, celebrate the real you, understand the cost of liberation, practice freedom, and see free Black women everywhere. This book is for Black women everywhere who are ready to stand up and say no to the country's misrepresentation of Black women as preternaturally strong workhorses meant for the service of others. It's for those who are ready to deconstruct and heal from America's destructive treatment. This book isn't only for individuals, it's a tool for Black women to get free together. Readers of books like The Body Is Not an Apology, Black Fatigue, and The Strong Black Woman will love this book. A Black Woman's Guide to Getting Free pubs on July 24th of this year. Next slide, please.
The majority of New Year's resolutions are around health or finances, and our next title aims to help you with your financial resolutions and in rethinking your relationship with money in 2024. The 32 Unbreakable Laws of Money and Success is the latest book from best-selling author Brian Tracy, who wrote the time management classic, Eat That Frog. In this book, he shares practical tools to help you reach your financial goals. These 32 laws have helped self-made millionaires with successful goal setting, time management, money saving, and financial investments, and they can help you too. Each one is a key to developing a mindset necessary for success, while also delivering practical, proven methods and techniques to double and even triple your income. Spread across a structured 2-part framework, this book supplies readers with the laws that help Tracy and other millionaires achieve their success. Inside, you'll learn 32 foundational laws necessary for a growth mindset, step-by-step processes for putting the laws into practice, how to move past self-limiting beliefs, a time-tested system for setting and attaining goals, strategies for saving money and investing in your future, and much more. Achieving financial freedom can seem daunting, but by using the lessons and exercises contained in this book, you too can harness the laws of money and success to reach your full potential. The 32 Unbreakable Laws of Money and Success launches June 4th. The American Institute of Health reports that 63% of Americans are ready to quit their jobs to avoid workplace stress. Our upcoming book, Fierce Resilience, is a new tool to help us handle stress before we come to that breaking point. The book is from Edward Beltran, who is now CEO of Fierce Inc. and a contributor to the best-selling book, Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott. This title shares science-based secrets to reducing workplace and life stress and building resilience. Beltran has developed a science-based model to reduce stress and help people build what he calls fierce resilience. By leveraging the power of conversations, individuals discover their unique stressors, master skills to neutralize those stressors, and build unwavering resilience that elevates their emotional well-being. This is no ordinary self-help book. The transformative process of fierce resilience goes well beyond developing mere coping skills. It helps people take control of their emotional health, become more resilient, and build organizations with resilience as a core part of their DNA. And this book will launch for us August 20th. Next slide, please.
True inclusion happens when leaders stop relying on HR practitioners to own full responsibility for DEI initiatives. The small, intentional daily leadership practices in this book are the key to creating truly inclusive organizations. There are millions of people who strive to make a difference in workplace diversity and inclusion. And with this practical, leader-friendly framework, daily practices of inclusive leaders will help equip readers with the actionable tools they've been searching for. Leaders will learn why they are the key to inclusion, insights for a lifelong journey, successful practices that they could start today, and more. With the era of big DEI coming to an end, leaders will make big strides through small daily changes in their processes that lead to creating an inclusive workplace culture. With this toolkit of actions, activities, and tactics, leaders will become the foundation of diversity and inclusion in their organization. Daily Practices of Inclusive Leaders is out on May 28th. Next slide, please.
Communication is at the heart of everything we do, and this next title provides tools to help us connect and communicate on a deeper level. It's a backlist title that you may have missed called Communicate with Courage by Michelle Gladio. Gladio is a consultant who leverages training and coaching to improve workplace communication. This book is about taking risks and making authentic connections. Michelle identifies the hidden risks or challenges that prevent us from truly communicating and connecting, and she offers guidance to overcome these challenges. This book also empowers us to have the courage to hear the hard things and take positive action. Michelle shares personal stories and opens our eyes to what an impact a kind word at the right time can have. In addition to stories about the power of communication, each chapter offers a real-world practice called a pro move and an exercise carefully crafted to help us overcome our communication hangups and truly connect. A recent study found that loneliness is epidemic in our country, and this book is the first step to combat loneliness and form deep connections with others. This is your year to be a brave communicator. Communicate with Courage is available now. Next slide, please.
Being able to adapt and be flexible have always been hallmarks of effective leadership and a fulfilling life. But in a world of so much change, flexibility and resilience can be stretched to their breaking points. The quest becomes how to find calm and lasting meaning amidst the enduring chaos. A world in flux calls for a new mindset, one that treats constant change and uncertainty as a feature, not a bug. Flex helps readers open this mindset, a flux mindset, and develop 8 flux superpowers that flip conventional ideas about leadership, success, and well-being on their heads. They empower people to see change in new ways, craft new responses, and ultimately reshape their relationship to change from the inside out. Whether readers are sizing up their career, reassessing their values, designing a product, building an organization, trying to inspire their colleagues, or simply show up more fully in the world, enjoying a flux mindset and activating their flux superpowers will keep readers grounded, even when the ground is shifting beneath them. Flux is available now. Next slide, please.
We hope you consider these books for your personal reading and for your library collections. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. Also, if you'd like to stay up to date on our new releases, please scan the QR code you can see now to join our new releases email list. And we thank you so much for your time today.
All right, that was wonderful. Thank you so much, Christy and Sarah. A huge thank you to all of today's wonderful panelists. I hope you all feel as more hopeful and balanced as I do. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's video recording, the title list, PowerPoint slides, and a certificate of completion. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit us at booklistonline.com/webinars. There you can view archives of past programs and register for upcoming ones, like those you see here. Are you heading to LLX in Baltimore this month? Stop by the Booklist booth at the ALA Connect section for free copies of our Guide to Graphic Novels, Booklist Reader, and Booklist. Grab our December Stars issue to catch up on any top titles you may have missed from 2023 and look ahead to new 2024 titles featured in the January issue, which is focused on Reader's Advisory. Speaking of Reader's Advisory, Susan McGuire, Booklist Senior Editor, Collection Management and Library Outreach, will be presenting an Ideas Exchange program focused on tips and techniques to help you and your staff get up to speed on the best RA practices. The program is free for conference attendees, so please be sure to join Susan and the rest of us on Sunday, January 21st at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Staff training, in-services, local conference, Booklist can help. You can now request free copies of Booklist and Booklist Reader for upcoming staff training programs, so you can help the next generation of library workers become Reader's Advisory and collection development superstars. Scan the QR code. It's here on the screen. Visit our website or email info@booklistonline.com for more details. Thank you again for joining us for today's wonderful webinar. A big thank you to our sponsor, Penguin Random House Library Marketing, hooray, and to our presenters from Shambhala Publications, Hay House, Berrett-Koehler Publishers, North Atlantic Books, and Parallax Press. This concludes today's webinar. Stay well, everyone. See you next time.